enough, that's where the Mustang was born. When it finally hit, it took the country by storm.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another special edition of Cars in Context. I'm your host, John Clor, and as you can tell, we're in a very special place. This is downtown Detroit at Cobo Hall for the North American International Auto Show. We're going to be bringing you a special show, but unlike all the stuff you've seen on television before, we're going to put all of this in context, because Cars in Context is the show that put cars into the context of your everyday life. So we're going to cover the auto show in a way you've never seen before, showing you the products, more importantly, what they mean to you. And in this year's show for 2013, the news was, what's the car of the year? Well, this car right here was running for the car of the year, and everyone thought it should have been the new Ford Fusion. All new design, new technology, class-leading fuel economy. But what happened? Another car got the car of the year award, and we'll bring that to you in a minute. So what was the news out of, as we start here at the auto show, out of Ford Motor Company? Well, we'll bring it to you because we're going to show you the difference between someone who comes to the show and maybe as a blogger or as a journalist, from the 8,000 people that are here today. So if you see people walking in and out of our show, that's because this place is packed. This is press preview day. So what we want you to see is the cars and the stars, but also to know what experience after 25 years of covering the show will bring to you. What we'll show you is what it means to you, the buyer, and not all the dream stuff, the stuff you'll actually be able to get at home. So did the Fusion win car of the year? No, it's a great car. Ford's, it's a big story for Ford, but a bigger story is its new truck. So let's go start right off at the top with the new Ford Transit for 2014. Look at this. Remember the plumbers that came to your house in an E-Series van? Well, no more, folks. Now we've got a brand new tall van, a world and global product, and inside you'll find, oh no, it's Chris Sawyer of thevirtualdriver.com. Chris, welcome to Cars in Context.
You know, there's a lot of room in there. See, you've got an overhead storage.
There's a lot of room in
I
this.
found a letter in there. It's from your wife. She wants you to fix that back door.
Oh no, no. This is definitely the new age of vans. And of course, in America, we're used to seeing the large 3/4 ton truck-based vans.
Absolutely.
Everywhere. I mean,
This is more the European style van.
I mean, for 50 years, Chris, we've been seeing the American
E-Series,
style.
yep.
Now we're turning to what Europe is known for several years, maybe even more than a decade
more than 50,
now.
yeah.
So this is what you're going to be seeing on America's roads, and why, Chris? What's the big difference?
Well, it's part of the One Ford deal,
Yeah.
because you build one vehicle worldwide, you can develop it worldwide, globally, you can cut your costs, and you can get much more utility out of it. And this is the mid-roof with
Yeah,
a long wheelbase. There's a short roof, a short wheelbase, and a tall roof that's even bigger than this.
And the big news, of course, is 3 different powertrains,
Absolutely.
including a diesel.
A 5-cylinder diesel,
which is
a turbo diesel. That's cool.
And
I want that one.
Yeah, who doesn't? Folks, the mileage improvement just from the base truck to this new truck is going to be 25%, and that's just if you get the base engine. So we're looking at an all-new. Now, why is that important? Because, you know, business drives Detroit, and it drives America. And a product like this, you might not think it's important for the automakers, but it's a huge part of their profit, and it's a huge part of their business. And right now, the big 3 dominate the domestic industry. So this is a huge part, but you know what, Chris? There's more to that.
Oh, a lot more.
There's not more. So let's go check out right now another, what people would call a truck. Some people call it a minivan. Ford doesn't call it a minivan. Well, let's go over here now and take a look at another wagon. Come on. I told you there was going to be another great little Transit, and this time it's the Transit Connect wagon. Now, Chris, Ford says they're not back in the minivan business, but we know darn well, when you look at this...
Sure they are. If you compare the size of this to the original Chrysler minivan, it's almost exactly the same size.
Can you imagine, folks? It looks a lot smaller, but that's just from the efficient use of their space.
Absolutely.
And the ability to have the overhangs all be filled with engine and transmission and suspension.
Plus, you get 2 engines in this thing, either a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder or the EcoBoost.
So boy,
not bad.
So you can have your power and your fuel economy, and oh, by the way, a small little fuel-efficient wagon. Why come back into the minivan segment with something that everybody else has until you can come out with something really different It gives you great room, great utility. These seats fold flat, and at the same time, killer mileage.
But kids, make sure mom and dad get the long wheelbase version because they can't reach you from the front seats.
Because you'll be in the way back. But speaking of kids, we can't get out of here until we talk about this new Fiesta ST. Now let's face it, this is the performance variant, just like the Focus ST, only this time on the smaller Fiesta platform. This little baby is a pocket rocket. Youth market car, it's something that everybody is shooting for. We really want to have more exciting products for Ford, and guess what? They delivered for the youth market with something like this. Chris, EcoBoost power again, 160 horsepower.
180.
180. You got an intercooled 4.
6-speed manual transmission.
Oh, come on, it's all there. Big
Sport
tires and
suspension,
wheels.
Big tires and wheels.
This is, for you kids that don't want something that's like an older performance car, so like a Mustang.
Yeah, but you know, even older guys who are moving down,
Oh, yeah.
this is a perfect thing for them. And
So-
mileage as well as performance, great.
Comes in 2 sizes now. Not only the Focus ST, which was launched earlier last year, now
now
the
the
Fiesta
Fiesta
ST. 2 ST products, global platform. Now I know what you want to say, but we see that old Ford, but let's go look at some of the really cool Fords, Chris. Like over here, we've got the new Escape. Of course, you're going to see a lot of headlines coming out of this Detroit show from the media. They're all going to talk about family cars. They're all going to talk about performance cars. They're going to be talking about trucks. But what we're going to kind of show you, Chris, is that there's a lot more undertow
Everything is utility.
of utility.
Yes.
And of course, the big news for Ford in the utility market is going to be this new Escape. It was big headlines when it was first introduced this year. This car is going to be the bread and butter maker. If this Escape takes off like the last one did, Ford is really going to be able to make inroads because it's fresh, it's new looking, it's got all the, it looks like it's a lot smaller than the previous generation. It actually has more room. And Chris, the
Absolutely.
bottom line, fuel economy again.
Absolutely. Plus, it gives them a platform for Lincoln, which
Right.
we'll show you in a
We're going
minute.
to show you in a second. Of course, for me, you can't have a car show on Cars and Context until you talk about another product. And that's
Oh,
over here,
God,
Chris.
here he
Look,
goes.
the Mustangs are here.
No, John,
I know, but
John,
come on,
no.
can we just look at
No,
them?
no.
Just for a second.
don't
I
make
know
me
they're
hit you
not
with
new.
the
I know they're not new.
newspaper. No,
Okay.
don't
They're
make me
not.
hit the newspaper.
They're not new, but look, the premium convertible
Yes.
is V6. The V6 with the fuel economy of 30 miles per gallon or more. Come on, that doesn't happen. The Mustang GT Premium, 420 horsepower.
I get it, John. I get it. Right
Come
into
on.
the book.
And the Shelby GT500?
Yes. Calm down.
Okay, all
Let's
right.
go.
662 horsepower out of a
Don't
supercharged
make me
V8.
hurt you.
All right, folks, let's go this way and keep on checking out the new cars here at the Detroit's North American International Auto Show. Now, here's one of the big stars of the show. We talked to you a little bit about trucks. We talked to you about how important they were. We just showed you the new Escape and why that's such an important product for Ford. Well, this product behind me, Chris, it really caused a big stir. Probably one of the lead intros yesterday at the first day of the press
Absolutely.
review.
As you can tell by the number of people who are still here at the second day taking pictures of it.
This Lincoln MKC concept is not really, Chris, a concept, is it?
No, it's very close to production.
Yeah,
very, very
you're
close.
looking at the new premium small utility. And this is Lincoln's second product of 4 that's going to come out back to back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is to get a foothold in the luxury utility, small utility world. Chris, why is this so important for Lincoln?
Well, because the luxury utility market is growing by leaps and bounds. It is the place where people want to be able to carry their things, they want to be able to go everywhere, do everything, they think they need a utility, they want luxury, and besides, they're highly profitable.
Well, this is why, folks, when you put everything into context about what a luxury car is, it's not the town car for Lincoln
No.
anymore. That's old context. We're talking about new. And this is the new next generation. This is
Absolutely.
where luxury is going. Small utilities. They already showed you the big sedan last year. They're going to be taking it into places where luxury market is starting to expand.
Absolutely.
Why can't you have the utility, fuel economy, and beautiful styling?
And the performance.
Right, and with this model, you're going to have all that. That's why it was such an important introduction. We're going to keep our fingers crossed for Lincoln if they're going to actually reborn a market, a new brand. It's got to start here.
I think in many ways it's more important than the MKZ.
Probably. Let's move on now and take a look at what some of the other car companies are doing, especially in this market that nobody's talking about. Now here's something that really drives me crazy, folks. We're here at the Infiniti stand. They showed their new Q car. Chris, the Q car looks like another lettered car we've seen a couple years
Used
ago.
to be the G.
So let's keep track. The G is now the Q series. They're going back to their roots. And this car, it looks like the old
G35.
G35 convertible, but now it's the IPL G.
But
So
only right now, because it'll become the Q.
It could be the Q. It will be the Q later. So if this is all driving you crazy, please write your automobile company and tell them stop with the alphabet soup.
It's all supposed to make it simpler. All the cars will be Qs, and now the utilities are going to be the QXs.
These are QXs. The problem is, remember when things had a name? Why do you have to use the alphanumeric symbols? It's stupid. To me, I liked it back when every car had a specific name. And we're following the European. Many of our domestic makers are now using this alphanumeric system. In my family, we're all J's. I would be J4. I'd rather be John than all those things. Chris, this stuff's got to stop. That's why I kind of like the Corvette and the Stingray.
Absolutely.
Well, let's keep on walking and see what
Sure.
else we can find down here. You know, right here we've got another great little display car, another concept that was shown actually late yesterday. We could find out really, are these guys still following our little trend that we're talking about? When you talk about, everybody wants to talk about small cars and family cars.
Well, and here's the funny part about it is Nissan has introduced a new small car, a hatchback, the Versa Note.
Right.
Which is this little 5-door right up here, the red one.
Little red.
But they've also introduced the concept that will be the replacement for the Murano.
Right.
Because they want to.
And
what's the Murano? It's a
you
crossover.
That's exactly right. And the
And what's the
bottom line is,
crossover? A utility.
you see behind this little wall here, it says innovation that excites. Let's go take a look.
Absolutely.
Texting too.
Okay, it's up here.
You might
Yeah.
want to go
I think we got to go this way.
this way.
Now the innovation, Chris, really is to try to get styling into the small utility segment.
Well, this is more mid-size utility.
Okay, here you go.
And this is really, the Murano was the one that put style into the mid-size utility, and then it lost it in the second generation.
Now look at this
Now
vehicle.
they've said, boys, we're going back to our roots.
Now to me, this is a concept vehicle. It's not really something you could see
No,
production. Is it
but
going to be this
you're-
wild?
Maybe not, it's not going to be this wild, but many of the basic shape, well, more than the basic shape will be there. It's just a lot of the detail is going to go away because you can't do it in production.
What you're seeing here is a hybrid version.
Then there probably
More and
will be
more.
a hybrid version.
More and more hybrids.
You want to make them as acceptable as possible, especially with the higher fuel economy.
So when they
standards.
talk about trucks, we look at this vehicle, we don't see it as a truck.
No,
We see
not from what
pickup
we grew
trucks.
up with,
Yeah,
yeah.
with the vans, the pickup trucks, that's the news out of Detroit. But the quiet news is that this is where money's going to be made.
This is where people want to go. This is where people want to spend their time and their
Right.
money, and this is where the money is for the car makers.
Well, let's go see some of the domestics battle against this little baby right now.
All
Let's
right.
go over to the GMC and the Buick stand. Now these guys got it going on.
Well, they have to, especially since they're a huge brand in China.
That's right. The number one domestic brand name is Buick in China, but for us, it was always the luxury, the premium mid-grade.
It was the doctor's car.
Right. The doctors, the lawyers that loved more style, flashy. This Buick, this new Encore. Look at how small this little utility
Yes,
is.
it's smaller than the Escape and the MKC. Those are more
Actually a smaller
are coming
vehicle.
into the mid-size size.
Look
This
at
is a subcompact. Quite
But look
honestly.
at some of the styling cues. Chris, we've got the ports on the grill, on the top of the hood. Remember back when the ports used to be on the side? The Buick always had a bulbous nose.
Yes, this one
car-
has it.
So you've got a small premium utility that, didn't make it a lot of fanfare, but this vehicle should be able to sell to all kinds of different customers.
Oh, absolutely. And in Europe, this is sold as the Opel Mocha.
Ah, I could go for one of those right now.
No,
Speaking-
spelled differently.
Oh, darn it. Well, let's go see what else that General Motors had. This is to them one of their trucks, but they also made big news just before the Detroit show by showing the world their brand new premium pickups.
Oh, absolutely.
Over here.
Not that anybody would know they were different.
No. Okay, now this is it, folks. When you talk about pickup trucks, you talk about General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler. We're going to show you the truck of the year, which was the Ram 1500 pickup truck. This is the new GMC truck. The GMC pickup is given an all-new skin. It's got new sheet metal, a different, more aggressive look, new interiors, Chris, they tell us, with much more premium materials, and new powertrains, which means they're going to be more fuel efficient than they were
Oh,
before.
absolutely.
But the look.
But it's still a Darwinian look, evolutionary, and it's drawing from the heavy-duty truck.
Okay.
But it's still very much in the vein in which you've come to recognize a GM.
So GM, even though they talked about their new pickup trucks,
It's not radically new.
Everybody's trying to outstage each
But
other.
that buyer doesn't want that. That buyer is very much more conservative than
Not
you think.
right, not ready to make a change. So
No.
the evolutionary idea here, much like the Dodge Ram, you know, add some features, add some different powertrains, more and
Keep
more.
working the style.
Yeah,
Keep working the
you
style.
don't want to
keep
make
working the
an
style.
abrupt left turn because the powertrains and the hauling ability and the towing ability of these trucks is what brings the money in, brings the customers in. You don't want to scare them away. This is the big news for them and also for Chevrolet. Let's head down there and see what they've got. Well, now we're into the Chevy stand, folks. Now over here right behind us, you remember our show when we were on Heartbeat talking about the Chevy Volt. Huge, huge, huge news out of that kind of platform is that Cadillac has now made a derivative of this car.
Yeah.
And you look over here, of course, if you have Volts, what are you going to have? You're going to have some Sparks.
Hopefully not in the battery
Yeah,
packs.
no, that's right. These are the little Chevy Sparks, these small cars, high mileage. Kind of reminds me of back in the 80s when we had the Geo Metros. And upstairs,
Oh, those are much better.
now Chris, what the heck are those? I've never seen those cars before.
Those are cars that GM is building around the world but not selling here, although I've heard rumors that that sport utility sitting there that the guy's looking in the back of is coming here.
No way. These are an idea for General Motors to show those cars upstairs is to show you that, folks, we can have cars globally too. We're not the only, we're just not America's car company. We're a global car company. We're General Motors.
Absolutely.
So these are really big, important, real big, important vehicles for GM. But nothing was more important than the introduction of America's sports car, the new Corvette. Let's go take a look at that baby. Okay, here we are at one of the most popular spots in all of the Detroit Auto Show this year. This was the big reveal. This is the one everybody's talking about. It's the brand new Corvette. Chris,
C7.
You couldn't have made a bigger splash than to come out with that hot red fastback Stingray. You know, going
And to
back
bring the Stingray name back, that's cool.
Yeah, and the bottom line too is with styling that looks more like a Stingray, like more sharkish, if you will.
A little more European, but also still American, and unfortunately quite a bit like the Viper in the front, but we won't mention that.
Well, the car is, this is a vehicle, folks, that you have to see in person. Forget the photos, forget downloading all your online spots. That
Doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, the car, to see the dimensions of the new Corvette, you have to see it all. You have to see it in person, walk around the car, and understand that this is a brand new car from the ground up. If you look back over our right shoulders, you'll see down there, that is the aluminum monocoque. This is the backbone, if you will, of the all-new Corvette. It's not only got an all-new chassis,
All-new engine, all-new transmission,
all powertrains, the body. I mean, this thing is new from the ground up, and it really gives the next generation Corvette a whole fresh look going into the next millennium. I'm telling you, I'm excited about it, and I really don't think the purists are getting it right. The coverage you're hearing out of Detroit's show is that the car is so sexy, so hot, but there are some guys that don't like the taillights. They say they look, they're too angular. A Corvette has to be round. They don't have to have round taillights on a Corvette, folks. You know, a lot of people are saying, Chris, that it makes the taillights look like the cheaper brother, the poor man's Corvette, the Camaro.
What's wrong with that? It's a family look. I look like my brother. Oh, wait a minute.
No, don't say that.
No.
Your mother will love that.
That got me in trouble for a long
Bottom
time.
line is, when you come to the shows, you have to see the new Corvette. It's really worth your time. Don't just walk past it. Look inside, all new interior, new layout. The car is reborn. It just shows you performance is not going anywhere, despite electric cars and fuel economy being the thing.
As Mr. Belvedere used to say, look at it, love it, take your time paying for it.
That's exactly right. You guys remember Mr. Belvedere. Really the star, one of the biggest stars of the show, except, Chris, we're
A bigger one.
yeah, there's a couple bigger ones, and we're going to show you those right now. Let's go. Okay, now we talked about some really big stars of the show, and this is one that nobody's going to be talking about because it's just a family sedan. Chris, when it comes to importance of making money in the car market, what's more important than your #1 sedan on the market?
Oh, absolutely. And the mid-size sedan and full-size sedan markets are growing. They're where the toughest competition is taking place at the moment.
Yeah.
And this is where you've got to be if you're going to be a global player.
Look at this baby. This is the new Impala. They're coming out. I know they have some competition. We're going to show the folks what's out there against this new car. But this platform is about as big as I've seen it, Chris.
Well, absolutely. This is the Epsilon 2, otherwise known as Epsilon 1 inside of GM.
Oh, that's right.
We call it Epsilon 2. They call it Epsilon 1.
Journalists are getting that wrong,
We
folks.
get it wrong.
We heard it from the engineer himself.
This car has got the back end of the Cadillac XTS on it, rear suspension, the trunk size. That's why the trunk is so large.
Wow.
It's got either a 4-cylinder or a V6.
Mm-hmm.
It will, well, let me tell you a little story real quickly. John Krafchick, head of Hyundai Motor America, he saw this and the new Toyota Avalon at the New York Auto Show.
Is that the same?
Called
Okay.
his people back in
Right.
California and said, "Quit celebrating, guys. We're in trouble."
And that's coming from Hyundai, which, you know,
Fastest growing company out there.
and they really thought that their sedans were going to run away with the market. So when you see General Motors and some of the other makers we'll show you in a little while come out with a sedan this good looking, this fuel efficient, this roomy, Chris, and dynamically, we know what this car is all about.
Absolutely. You don't have to give up to get,
Right.
in this case.
Now, still front drive.
Yeah.
But well, guess what, folks? This is where the American car is going. This is what we have now. High style, great looks, good road manners, fuel efficiency. The
And a
trunk on this
beautiful
thing,
interior.
the cars are really spectacular. So although the headlines won't be on Impala, it'll be about the Corvette that we talked about from General
This is
Motors.
what determines the health of General Motors.
You're exactly right. Yeah, it was the Cadillac, the ATS was the car of the year, this car, but guess what? This is the car, you're right, that's really gonna, when you take GM's temperature, depending how well this car is received in the marketplace, it's gonna make all the difference in the world. Well, let's keep going, Chris. I wanna show you, speaking of sedans, some crazy ones that are down here. Well, if you've been watching Cars in Context, you may have seen us on In the News. We've talked about, you know, Kia coming out with special editions. We talked about their recent affiliation with DC Comics and some of the great comic that we know about Superman and Batman, and guess what? And Captain America, Chris, here it is. Holy cow, Batman, what's this?
A 6-year-old's buy cars?
No, this is an honest to goodness special edition by Kia.
You can buy this.
Absolutely, my friend. You can order this special sport edition. Now it's limited time, and if you hear that noise, folks, that's the lovely Detroit People Mover because we're shooting this in beautiful Cobo Hall.
That's right.
Bottom line is, this is the kind of special edition car that they think the youth market really wants. The question is, folks, would you buy this for your son to go to Grosse Pointe North?
Only if you're mentally ill.
I'm not sure you want to show up in this, but holy cow, Batman, there are no rocket launchers on it. But it's got a great sound system. If you guys check out the interior, it's got the bat actually sewn into stitched into the seats. This is the kind of special edition stuff that the import automakers believe we want. We showed you that Ford thought we wanted special editions like little turbocharged Fiesta STs. The Koreans.
I'd rather have the Fiesta, thank you.
Okay.
I'm just getting too old.
Well, I'm gonna wait for the Superman edition before I make up my mind. But let's keep going, guys.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please.
We talk about sedans, Chris. This is big news that people don't think is big news, but you and I know better.
This is as big a news as when Hyundai introduced the Genesis.
It really is. This is the Kia Cadenza. I called it the Credenzas because it's the size of a buffet in our living room, in our dining room. But this is a rear drive large sedan. And Chris, why is this so important?
Well, because the Koreans have moved into the luxury market, and they moved into it the same way that Lexus did, of coming in with a lot of stuff for a little price and growing their way in. So if you could say that the Hyundai was sort of going into the Lexus and almost Mercedes into the market, a little stodgier, a little more conservative.
Yeah.
This is more the Audi and BMW end of things.
Stylish,
much more European.
Stylish, new powertrains, folks. Look at that design. And the funny thing is, we talked about the Impala and cars of its ilk, the Taurus, the new Camry, the new Avalon. This car is rear-wheel drive, so you're talking in a whole other world of BMW, Mercedes. You're talking. We can take them both on with a full size that looks this good.
Absolutely, and you're printing money.
Now, what's the challenge here with something like that in the American market? Never been out here. I mean, what is the challenge to come up with a brand new car on this new platform?
It's getting people to accept that your brand can go into that level of the market.
Show up at the Grosse Pointe Hunt Club.
Because you're selling that along with Souls, along with Fortes, and that's going to be in the market as well. It'd be like selling Lincolns alongside the Fords.
Yeah, they always wanted a premium vehicle. They've got a premium vehicle here. The question is, will it be accepted in the marketplace? It certainly has the look. It's got a lot of things on paper.
And the design is from Audi's former chief designer.
Well, see, now that's why you can tell it looks like it's been around for a while. It's an evolution of a current design. But you know, folks, these are the kinds of products, when you take the whole show in context, it's really going to make it or break it for especially the Koreans who are entering every single market out there. And speaking of the Seoul, did you know that we walked up here to take a look at this new Cadenza? Over your shoulder, Chris, there's a
yes,
Seoul.
I know.
Is that
I
the
saw it.
Green Lantern edition?
Yes.
Folks, it doesn't get any better than the crazy cars you find at the Detroit Auto Show. Better get down here. Chris, let's go look at some real trucks.
Please.
Okay. Here we are, Chris. We talked about trucks. You know, yes, the Dodge Ram 1500 Truck of the Year. We're gonna show folks in the next segment of Cars in Context from the auto show another truck that's pretty darn important.
Oh yeah.
But right here, after we showed you the GMC, this is the sister vehicle.
The Silverado.
What are we looking at?
The most important part about this, people always said, why do they have GMC and Chevy trucks?
Huge question.
Very simple. All the analysts have told me is that the guy who does the work buys the Chevy.
Okay.
The guy who owns the company that hires those guys has the
Buys the
GMC,
GMC.
and they do not cross.
No, they
so
look
they
different.
need both those.
Now, underneath they may be very similar, but these trucks look different. They work different.
Very much so, and a much higher level of luxury in the GMC that
Right.
you can get to. I'm not saying that you can't do badly here,
No.
but this is more of a workday truck.
Especially the LTZ model. Folks, bottom line is people were saying when GM faced bankruptcy, why don't they just can GMC? They've got pretty much mirror products between the Chevrolet truck and the GMC truck. Why do we have both? The reason was GMC is a very profitable line. It's basically you taking a platform you already got, dressing up, and you have a bigger profit margin. Very important vehicle for General Motors, although Corvette got all of the headlines. The new truck coming out, very important. As you know, it didn't win Truck of the Year, but again, having a freshened big truck, they're still selling
Well,
these.
this one I think will be for next year's Truck of the Year because it's a 2014 model.
Right.
So
Right. So look
it
for
has a chance.
Yeah, and it may be back in the running depending on what happens with the other three of the big three. So bottom line, you saw the big star up on the wall there, the Corvette. That was what everybody talked about. But we're trying to give you in context some of the other products that are really important to the industry. And that about closes us up for our part one of Cars
we
and
have more to talk about.
We've got a half a show to cover yet. So we're going to have to give you part two of Cars in Context.
Oh, good.
Cruising the North American International Auto Show here at Detroit's Cobo Hall. And we'll take the rest of the cars. If you haven't seen your favorite yet, just wait and tune us in for part two of Cars in Context at the Detroit Auto Show. This has been Chris Sawyer of thevirtualdriver.com and John Clor of carsincontext.com. And don't forget to watch us, Cars in Context TV on YouTube. We'll be joining you again hopefully soon, so you can see the rest of the show in part two of us at the Auto Show. So until next time, remember, knowledge is power. I'm your host, John Clor. Thanks for watching.